That was just about the weirdest intro music we've had yet here. What's up, everybody? Andrew Cooper here. Coop a Fiasco. This is Coop's Fantasy Football Fiasco on Fantasy Alarm on Better Sports Network, sponsored by FFPC. And today I have one of my favorites here. There's a lot of dorks in this industry, no question, myself probably included. But today we actually have one of the cool guys, one of the cool dudes from this industry. There are a couple sprinkled throughout. My guy, Iggy Gilbert, now a member of the Fantasy Alarm family. He's doing double duty, kind of like our own John and Ben, but John and Ben does every single sport. You know, some people do some baseball, some football. Iggy does some basketball, but we have him here to talk a little fantasy football. And I'll tell you what, Iggy brings a new wrinkle to the show. Somebody we haven't had on yet. We haven't had anybody that really dabbles in the IDP yet. But Iggy, you're a man of that world. So I got to ask you, how you doing today?
Doing well, man. Doing up here in the Rocky Mountains, loving life. Happy to be on this show. Got my Denver Nuggets going tonight. I've already wrote my best bet articles for Fantasy Alarm. Go check them out over. Get your subscription, and I'm ready to rock, man. I'm ready to talk NFL now.
Hell yeah, dude. And I'm telling you, before the show, I noticed you're rocking the show everybody what you're wearing right now, dude.
I had to do this for our man Coop today.
Unbelievable, bro.
You're my teammate, so it's okay. You know, we can throw a little shade here. So.
You can talk a little trash on this show. Yeah. That's the thing is that I grew up a New England fan, Patriots. You see all behind me, all the sports. People don't realize I was just early enough to be there for all the bad stuff. For all we lost you guys in the Super Bowl, right? I was a kid when Nomar Garcia-Parra got traded, right? Like I started watching all these sports in the middle of a 100-year curse. You know what I mean? So I got all the bad stuff, but around the year 2000, when I could really appreciate it, then it was just parades after parades after parades. So we did all right. Shout out chat. We see you guys, Gabe, Brad McCoy. We'll definitely hit on some questions. Get your questions in the chat. A little pro tip for people. This show has never one time gotten through all the matchups. We didn't even, Jake Trowbridge was on last week, and even with 6 buys, we didn't even come close. Not even close. We're going to try, but there's no bye weeks this way, so it's not going to happen. To help us out, when we get to a matchup, if you have a question that involves that matchup, if you can get it in then, it makes it so much easier for us to answer. So we'll clear the deck real quick with these 2 questions, but look, dude, I'm loving this spooky theme, Heather. We got Heather behind the glass with us. Yeah, I'm loving that spookiness, dude. A little Halloween. So let's hit these real quick. Gabe the Babe says, morning, gents. Last minute trade question. Give up Nico and Tajay Spears for Saquon. So Nico Collins and Tajay Spears for Saquon. Are you doing that, Iggy?
Not at all, because there's a chance that Spears becomes a featured back in Tennessee. Nico's already passed his bye week, so we don't have to worry about that. Teamed up well with C.J. Stroud. You got a true wide receiver 1. I'm not giving that up for Barkley, who's not guaranteed to even play the rest of the season. So
I'm with you, man. I'm liking Nico. Nico just got through 2 tough matchups, right? AJ Terrell, Marshawn Lattimore. It's not the best time to sell Nico. We'll talk about it today, obviously, but I would hang tight and showcase Nico this week in a week where Panthers potentially missing 2 cornerbacks, right, Eddie?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So we'll get to that. Brad McCoy, Twitch gang, although he came over to YouTube. So Twitch gang now trickling into the YouTube, says, what's up, fellas? Start Madison versus Green Bay or Metcalf versus Cleveland in the flex. What do you think, Iggy?
And that's a tough call. Madison's looked a lot better. Green Bay gives up a lot of yardage to the runs. I don't have the stats, but I know they're in the back third of the NFL right now against opposing running back. So I'm going to tilt Madison. I'm not sure if DK's even logged a full week this week, so I'm taking Madison in this one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And Chris Alves in the chat taking the under on getting through the slate. That's if we were setting a book here, I think that would have to be at like minus 3,000. Because it's never happened. But why don't we get into it now and see if it's possible? All right. All things are possible with enough heart, enough soul. So here we go. Falcons at Titans. Again, for people just tuning in, I would never make my guest pick every single matchup, every single over, under, and spread. And I think it's stupid to bet on all of them. I think that's a bad idea. What I do is we go through and I say, is there a bet here? Is there something you like? Is it worth betting? Sometimes I look at the whole slate and I don't bet on any game lines or anything. Sometimes I bet on a lot of them. So I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are, man. You let me know, brother. So Falcons at Titans, plus 2.5. for the home team here, and 35.5 over under. So they're really not feeling this one. You willing to bet on this one?
Yeah, actually, there's a couple bets I like this game. I picked up Atlanta for my streaming defense of the week. I mean, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Somebody that's not going to have much experience for sure. And believe it or not, Calais Campbell over there. We got Ellis. We got some Bates in the backfield for the Falcons. There's some playmakers over there, and I think they can make a big play, or at the very least, keep the field tilted to their side with special teams and good defensive play, and get shorter fields and hopefully score some touchdowns. So I do like the Falcons to actually cover the spread here, but I also like an IDP prop, and it's Aziz Al-Shahir to get over 9.5 tackles plus assists. I just like, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Bijan, it doesn't matter if it's Algier, it doesn't matter if it's Patterson. Somebody's going to get a large amount of volume in that game, and it's going to be his job to cover them in the flats, tackle them coming through the ABC gaps. So that's my favorite tackle prop in this game.
I love, dude. We've been going hard on we've been doing we call it the Thursday night tackle monster. We've been doing and we're actually 5 of 6 on the tackle monsters. Yesterday we had Terrell Bernard, right, on over 5.5. So that was nice. I mean, he's been racking them up lately. Combined tackles, double digits last few weeks, right? So I love those bets. I'll tell you, the people out there, when you are betting on, and that's the beauty of IDP, is it's 2 different games, and it's so much fun when you watch your guy chase a dude down and grab him, and you're like, yes, let's go. Like otherwise boring plays become a lot more fun. So yeah, I'm willing. Sorry, what were you saying?
I just said snuck it in, play IDP.
There you go, play IDP, man. So yeah, I'm actually also willing to bet the Falcons here. I don't really understand why they're starting a rookie QB for the first time and mixing in Malik Willis like Taysom Hill style. That sounds like turnover city, man. So I like the Falcons defense in DFS. They're only $2,900. I'm digging the tackle bets, yeah, and although the Titans are still, even though they're bad versus pass, still tough to run on, right? Jeffrey Simmons kind of a beast there, right? So I'm not sure I love like Tyler Algier this week. Do you?
I mean, no, yeah, I'm not, like I said, just the whole backfield situation as it is just kind of steers me away from it. But that's why I went Aziz Al-Shahir, is because no matter who it is, it's going to be his responsibility. And we know Arthur Smith is going to run the ball. Right. So why don't we just take those statistics and run with them?
Yeah, Arthur Smith sucks, dude. He just said I don't. I'll go with the hot hand, whether that's out. He's like, if I think Algier looks good, I'll go over to the RB coach and say, let's get him 15 carries. And I'm just like, and he said, oh, sorry to fantasy football managers. It's like, dude, he's definitely saying that because people are pissed about the Bijan thing, and rightfully so. So forget him. Only one question on the Falcons, because we kind of know who's who, but Van Jefferson traded to the team, kind of ramping up in snaps, but I don't know. Is he even worth stashing in any format, or is it just the tight ends and Drake London?
And if you're in a super deep, like 4 wide receiver start, 14 team league or something, yeah, he's worth the stash, definitely. But you got Matt Collins over there. You still got 2 catching the ball over there. I just like it's going to be boom and mostly bust. So you'd have to nail that week. And don't get me wrong, there's some pretty impressive bye weeks coming up. But in a normal format league, I'm just going to look elsewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Kevin Byard trade to the Eagles from this Titans game. What are your thoughts on that, man? As a defensive guru,
man, I just think Howie Roseman does it again, man. He just finds this gold. I can't stand that guy. I can't stand him because he's good at what he does, and I don't like the Eagles, So right. It's like that's part of it. But it's going to be a great fit. I mean, Blankenship's been battling injuries for the past 2 years, so Beard's going to go over there, shore up that defense. Like he's very aware that they're in this window, and it's very large, and he's adding to that defense. I think it makes everybody stronger. I think it makes the Hassan Reddick and Carter and these guys on the defensive line stronger, knowing they got a veteran back there. And I think as far as this Tennessee game goes, that's why another reason I like Atlanta. He has been the captain for that defense for multiple years, and that is communication central. And people don't understand how much mental and communication aspects go on the defensive side of the ball. And when you lose that, you just don't replace it instantly. Okay, that's just not how that happens. So I expect there to be some, possibly a deep pit, hopefully a deep Pitts pass touchdown, getting past the safeties on some miscommunication.
Right. People don't realize like how airtight it is in the NFL, but just when you're watching your college football tomorrow, I guarantee if you watch for a couple hours, you will see a situation where after the play, the cornerbacks and safeties are looking at each other and pointing fingers because there was just a 70-yard touchdown, right? It can happen like that. If you miss your one assignment, you're in the wrong spot, like it's over. And it happens all the time in college. We take it for granted. In the NFL, it doesn't really happen. But when you lose a guy like that, now all of a sudden it's like, could see some scary ones here. Yeah. So yeah, I'm willing to bet the Falcons, but yeah, interested to see what happens with the quarterback, but not much we can really say about that because we haven't really seen these guys. I think Will Levis, he's like a Jay Cutler type, so it should be fun to see him out there just chucking it off his back foot. Shout out Ryan, shout out guys in the chat. What's happening, man? Get questions in if you have them, especially IDP ones because we got an IDP expert here. Next game, Vikings at Packers, 1.5 point spread in favor of the Packers, in favor of the Vikings, and 42.5 over under. Division game. So anything here on this one? Are you taking anything, or what are your thoughts?
It breaks my heart to talk about it. I mean, I think there's some good fantasy plays from a betting standpoint. The lines are tight. I didn't see Quay Walker's line out there. Devondre Campbell's probably going to be out. Darnell Savage is now out. So Rudy Ford, if you're looking for a deep play, go check him out as a safety. I'm waiting for his tackle line to come out. He's been very active even with Savage playing. So I think there could be a miscommunication or a missed algorithm on his line as somebody that watches every Packers snap every week. I think that could be a possibility. As far as betting, man, it's a division game. The Vikings, I felt pretty good about them beating the 49ers and placed the spread last week. They did well. They're just so hit or miss. And Green Bay, it looks like Jordan Love has just forgotten the mantra of Aaron Rodgers for 4 weeks. Like he just, okay, chunk it up into the game. Just throw it. Just get it out there. Protecting the football, his turnover rate has been really high. Aaron Jones, we still don't know what's going on. So for me, I mean, Addison could be a touchdown. I mean, he's got 6 touchdowns on the year. He's getting separation. He's got strong hands. Ripped it out of Ward's hands for the touchdown. Yeah. But I just don't have anything I'm placing with confidence in this game, and I've avoided it until I get some more tackle props on Ford and Walker.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of our you'd be proud, man. That was one of our tackle monster bets. The Thursday game that Devondre Campbell missed, we were like, Quay Walker's going to eat today. So that was an easy one. I mean, I'm telling you, I feel like the betting markets, especially, some of these sites like Underdog or whatever where you do like the pick'ems, I feel like their algorithms, they don't put in as much effort into it. And there's a lot to take advantage of. There's a lot to take advantage of there. So love that, man. I got to ask because on Monday, anyone that watched that game, especially after the game, Kirk Cousins, somebody came and put a chain on him that said top 10, the top 10 chain. Iggy, do you believe he deserves to wear a top 10 QB chain?
Absolutely. He was one of my most drafted, talking to someone that did about 200 best ball drafts. He was one of my most drafted quarterbacks. When he's on. He's doing this without Justin Jefferson. I mean, look how great a game Hawkinson had last week against a great defense. I think Kirk Cousins is a fun person to poke fun of in the media. He's easy to and he's popular, so you're going to get feedback. But I think he is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He may not be the best playoff quarterback, which is kind of 2 different seasons. Right. But I think he's a top 10 quarterback over his tenure with the Vikings, especially.
I like, that's the thing. Like, when it comes to passing, there's no way you can't rank him top 10. So you have to start saying like, okay, Fields with his mobility, maybe you put it like you have to make an argument for mobility because passing wise, this guy has been no different than Josh Allen. He's been better than Josh Allen, right? Like, so you have to go that route. Let's clear the deck on some questions real quick. Ryan wants to know, you're going to go Kenny Pickett or Joshua Dobbs this week, man. That's kind of a tough one, brother.
Kenny Pickett versus the Jags or Dobbs versus the Ravens defense.
Oof. Yeah, I know.
I guess I got to go Pickett. I have to in that situation just because Pickett and, Jacksonville is susceptible to a big play. They make several big plays over there, and they might be playing with the negative game script, to the max. So I guess give me Pickett.
We're going to be talking about those games soon. But I mean, the script, Vegas Vegas thinks that one's going to be closer than it would be in our minds, Jacksonville at Pitt. Whereas the Cardinals game is getting up to being like double digit dogs at this point. IDP question from Chris Alves, Dax Hill or Minka Fitzpatrick?
Man, that's pretty. I think Fitzpatrick is going to be in for another good game against Jacksonville. You can tell they give the ball to ETN a lot. They give the ball to Ingram a lot, and they give it to Kirk a lot inside the, in intermediate routes. All of that's going to favor Mika Fitzpatrick. So give me Mika. I'm going to tell Mika.
I'm feeling it, man. Roschon Johnson, I think, is cleared this week, or he says he's ready to go. So, what are your thoughts on Donta Foreman? What's your trust level?
You dropped him 1 week too early in the Kings Classic is what I think every week. But he's good, man. But that coaching staff really loves Johnson. I didn't understand the inactives with Foreman, and I kept him on a long time. But how can you not give the carries to the guy that led you to the victory last week? I just kind of think they're going to be in for a 50-50 split over there.
All right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is you can't really, they can't go away from it. I think Darrington Evans, he got a ton of snaps last week, and they're going to have to go away from him. Like that's the guy that's going to get hurt by the return here. So there you go. IDP question. Jesse Bates, who I think is honestly, arguably the pickup of the offseason for just across the board, offense or defense, man. Free agent acquisition. Jesse Bates has been everywhere. But you go Jesse Bates, DeForest Buckner, or Owusu Karamoa,
man. I got to stick with what we said earlier about the Titans. Rookie quarterbacks out there, or rookie quarterback and
right.
Quarterback with little experience. Let's say Derrick Henry starts getting through that first and second level. You know who that's on? That's on Bates. So I think that he's in for a big game. He's had kind of two mediocre games as far from a fantasy production the past couple of weeks. I think he's really due for a big game in Tennessee. And, Arthur Smith kind of making those comments has put a little bit of target on the Falcons as well. And I picked them to win the division before the season began. And I think they're going to answer the call. And Bates is a big part of that.
Yeah, I'm in, man. I mean, he's been breaking balls up. He's been punching balls out. So yeah. Last one, then let's get back to the slate here. Josh Sweat or Javon Hargrave?
Man, give me Hargrave and San Francisco against Cincinnati. He might have a chance possibly to work the interior of the line and possibly get a sack on Burrow, who's probably still not as mobile as we would want him to be at complete health. So I think that I'll take Hargrave here against Cincinnati this week.
Yeah, I mean, just crazy that defense was so good already. Then they get Hargrave, but then Howie Roseman, we talk about, just is like, oh, I'll just go get a new Hargrave in the draft and gets Jalen Carter, who's been awesome. So, I mean, ridiculous, dude. All right, let's get back to some games here. Texans at Panthers +3, 43-point over under. I got to ask you, before the bye, Devin Singletary, he had the better game. He got the touches, and we know that Kyle Shanahan, we call him Kyle Hot Hand Shanahan for a reason, right? He's a hot hand coach, and everyone from his coaching tree kind of does the same thing, right? Like McVay will do it. Mike McDaniel will definitely do it, right? Like, and now D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick come over, and sure enough, Singletary looks good. He gets more carries. So this week, if you had to pick one, if you had both on your team, you had to pick one. Are you starting Dameon Pierce? You starting Devin Singletary against the Panthers, a team that you can run on?
Yeah, I'm going to start Pierce, man. He'll be the starter. I have Singletary in all my best balls, but I picked him up in a few leagues because of the bye week. People dropped him due to his lack of production. I'm not starting him in those leagues, but if you're asking me these two specifically, I'm taking Pierce.
Yeah, for sure. And today we're going to make an FFPC team like we always do. So make sure you're hanging out with us in the midpoint of the show. That's the funnest part of the show because FFPC is awesome. The weekly game over there. There's no salaries, none of that stuff. You can basically pick anyone you want. The only rule is you can't pick two guys from the same team. One player. If you want to get set up with that and see if you can beat us, you probably can because we actually haven't won one yet. We've come close. I mean, we've been jumping in these ones with 30 people. So I mean, like, 1 out of 30. If we win one during the season, you make your money, right? But use promo code Coop. If you deposit $35 or more, they'll give you 25. These contests, there's either $35 entry or $200 entry. So my suggestion, deposit $45 or more, and then you'll have $70 to get in twice. So yeah, check that out. We're going to do that soon. This matchup, a guy that I'm starting, I've got stacks of in other formats of stacks of CJ Stroud and Nico Collins. Nico Collins is the guy that I'm excited for this week. We talked about it early in the show, kind of, but do you have an update on Jeremy Chin and on JC Horn? Or they're out, right? Or they're not looking good?
Yeah, did not practice is the last thing I saw, but that wasn't today. I don't know what's going on today per se, but that's the last thing I saw. So.
Keep an eye on that because, I mean, this like people might be off of Nico Collins and Tank Dell and these guys because the Panthers have been okay against the pass, but without those guys, man, it's wheels up. And Nico Collins been very good this year, but the last 2 weeks went against AJ Terrell, went against Marshawn Lattimore. That's a play I'm definitely making. I want to get some Nico Collins in there. There's a few other good matchups that we like as well. So we like those matchups on this side. Dalton Schultz, he's exactly Dalton Schultz. I'm not going to ask you about Dalton Schultz because we know what he is. He's a kind of a part-time guy. You're hoping for a touchdown, is what it is, right? So on the Panthers side, though, how much do you believe? And I know you as a Packers fan, you've watched this guy for years, the way he operates. How much do you believe in the possibility that Adam Thielen could be like a back-end wide receiver one this year?
Oh, he's going to be there. They're going to play with so many negative game scripts. And he's still able to get separation at this age. I think he's out to prove that he's still better than, certain wide receivers on his former team, if not internally, maybe to himself more than to everybody else. But he's having a Pro Bowl caliber year. And that's not just going to disappear because they went on a bye week. The offensive line's in trouble. I just think they're going to be coming from behind a lot. I like Thielen.
Yeah. With other notes from this game, if you're going to start another wide receiver, it's probably should be Jonathan Mingo. He's getting the full snap share versus Chark and these other guys, but kind of hard to start him. With Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard, what are you expecting with Miles Sanders coming out the bye? I know the coach said that it's going to be a split to some degree, but if you had to start one of these two guys, would it be Sanders or would it be Hubbard?
Be Hubbard all day for me. I drafted out of leagues, man. The stock is Sanders, but he's just not as explosive as Hubbard. There's certain things he does better, absolutely. But I wasn't big on Sanders coming into this format. I think Hubbard, like I said, with them playing with a negative game script, even though Sanders is a great, has a great pass catcher, running back, I just think Hubbard has more explosive plays out of him when they need it. So I think there's going to be a split. I just don't really trust. I don't know why I'm blanking on the former Colts, Frank Reich. Production is a little shaky at times. So I would take Hubbard. I have Hubbard in some leagues. I started him obviously while Sanders was out, but I'm leaning Hubbard.
Yeah, I feel you, man. The thing with Miles Sanders is he looked good week one, had almost 100 yards from scrimmage. Since then, he's been dealing with the groin. So I'm still holding out hope. But for now, it's got to be Hubbard. For now, until we see it, it's got to be Hubbard. Let's hit the chat with some quick questions. Britt Flynn, first and foremost, from Fantasy Alarm. She handles a lot of our injury stuff. She says that Chin and Horn are actually on IR, and Vaughn Bell is also out. So, boy, Panthers now, they couldn't stop the run, and they were decent against the pass. Now you can just do whatever you want. So I'm leaning into the Texans here. I might even consider betting the Texans on this one. Would you go Donta Foreman or Josh Downs this week, half PPR?
Downs.
Me too. Downs for sure. Lock it in. Let's see. First crack at Stroud and DFS. I like it, Rex. Pick 2, McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, Sutton, Lockett, Dell, Downs.
Okay.
That's a tough crew.
Gary, Terry, can you read them again one more time?
Yeah, it's McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Lockett, Tank Dell, or Josh Downs.
I guess I'm going Lockett for sure, and then maybe Downs again, maybe Sutton. I'm kind of torn between them two. Sutton's been putting up great numbers with Russ lately.
I'm loving Downs this week, and we'll talk about Downs when we get to that game. But Downs is a lock of the week for me. I honestly have him ranked as a top 24 wide receiver this week. So, but we'll get to that. Let's talk Jags at Steelers. Plus 2.5, 41 point over under. Is there a bet there for you, or how are you feeling about this? I was surprised that the Jags weren't favored by more. That was my initial thought, but the more I look at it, I don't know if I really want to bet it. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote Josh Allen as one of my marquee players of the week from an IDP. He's one of my plays. And I think he's going to take advantage of that line and get a sack. He's in a contract here. He's been having one of his best years that he's had out there. But I say it all the time. I think Mike Tomlin's, second best coach of my lifetime. And
who's number one?
Probably Bill Belichick. Yeah.
Definitely Bill Belichick. Come on now.
Probably Bill Belichick. But Andy Reid's getting close in that top 3 discussion as well. But I think that Josh Allen he's out to make money, man. He's out to get his next big bag in his contract year, and I think there's potential for him there. I looked at Foyer's tackle lines; it was at 11.5 for me. Not that he can't do that. I just don't know that the volume is going to be there. I really do think Jacksonville is going to kind of win this game. You know, the spread, it's always scary on the road, but they got a bye week after this, and they've had a mini bye week on Thursday from the Thursday game. So I think there's potential for them to cover the spread. I actually kind of like it.
All right, nice, man. Yeah, I mean, the thing with the coaching argument, the best coach ever argument, is that they all had amazing quarterbacks. Like, because the people say, "Oh, Bill Belichick can't do anything without Tom Brady." It's like, okay, who's your best all time coach then? Is it Bill Walsh, who had Joe Montana and Steve Young and Jerry Rice? Like, is it Mike Tomlin, who played with Hall of Famer Big Ben? Like, there's, is it Andy Reid, who played with Patrick Mahomes, who didn't win a Super Bowl until he had Patrick Mahomes, right? So, I mean, come on now, you have to. That's part of the game. So with this Jaguars team, we kind of know who the main characters are. Travis Etienne, awesome. Evan Ingram, got to start him where you have him. Calvin Ridley, though, where are you at with Ridley? He's been kind of up and down. And I like to talk to IDP guys about this. Do you think it's been matchup related for the most part, or do you think it's just that they have enough weapons that they don't need to throw this guy 10, 12 targets?
Oh, I just think there's a familiar, like ETN's going off, obviously, right? So
Right.
that's but I was just big on Kirk. They paid as soon as Doug Peterson became hired, Kirk became the priority. And I hear all this time, well, Kirk's only good against zone. He can't beat man. This is what his excels at. Well, he just tore up man coverage last week. All right, and I don't think that narrative is true. And I think Calvin Ridley's good. I just think, Trevor Lawrence is probably first read most of the time is honestly Kirk because of his separation, or Ingram because of his natural match against a linebacker or a safety. I don't think Calvin Ridley's on just because he's in that slot, or excuse me, in that position to be wide receiver one doesn't mean that's his first look. And I don't think that it reflects bad on Calvin Ridley. It's just his draft stock was so incredibly high. I mean, you were getting Christian Kirk 30 rounds or 30 picks, 35, 40 picks later at times. And I just think that offense is geared to do what it's doing. Go, Ingram, ETN, Kirk. Like that's where that offense is supposed to be. And I wouldn't give up on Ridley. He's going to have big weeks, but I just think he was overpaid for in the season, and that's why I don't have any shares of him.
I was warning people with the uncertainty, paying for the most expensive guy. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get situated where it's like, even like a Chris Olave, it's like kind of feel like you got more bang for your buck if you waited and took Michael Thomas or took even Rashid Shaheed. Same thing with here, where it's like, paying up for Ridley hasn't quite panned out yet, but I have some hope for a bounce back. On the other side of the ball here, you have Najee Harris versus Jalen Warren. I want to point out that and I mentioned it on other shows this week, but the Jaguars last year gave up 6.2 receptions per game to the running back. That was the second worst in the league. This year, going into last Thursday, we're giving up 6.5. So actually even more receptions to the running back. And of course, Alvin Kamara came up and had 14 receptions. So for me, I kind of like the idea of Jalen Warren here. I don't know if we're going to put him in our FFPC team per se, because, can't really, with so many good backs, can't really start split backs, but I don't know. Is there an argument for Warren over Najee this week, or is it still just Najee because he gets more work in all phases?
Man, that line is just so bad. But I mean, I think you bring up a good point. On a week where you probably have good running back depth, you may not need to start him.
Right.
I start Harris in most of my leagues still, just because of injuries I've taken at that position. But I think they both could have RB2 value this week. Okay, let's say that high end RB2 value, which if you have them as an RB2, that's not bad.
Not too bad. Yeah. I'm going to ask you one quick question. Just give me a name here. I don't need no explanation. Deontay Johnson or George Pickens. Let's say it's half PPR. Who you got?
Pickens.
Ooh, okay. I'm liking it. Yeah, Deontay is still working his way back. And also he's kind of low ADOT type guy. Also, before we move on to the next game, folks, Connor Hayward they dropped back 29 times last week. He ran 28 routes, no pass blocking snaps. Basically, with Freiermuth on IR, they said, hey, you know what? You're going to need to be the new Freiermuth. Obviously, I mean, you're probably not starting him in any real leagues, but DFS dart throw, he's like free. On Yahoo, he's $10. So something to think about there. Saints at Colts, -1.5 is the line. 43.5 point over under. Is there any bet there for you?
I mean, the only thing I looked at, I saw liked was Zaire Franklin over 9.5. I mean, Carr's probably going to keep dumping off passes. they got a whole stable of running backs back in New Orleans. So I think, the best linebacker in the league right now should cover that
Yeah.
line.
9.5, man. 9.5. That is, I bet still, I mean, the way he's been playing, it's almost like you can't set the line too high, right? Is he going to have 200 tackles this year?
Probably going to lead the league. I mean, he said he's been drug tested several times. So
Right. Yeah. He's been awesome, man. So, yeah. Juwan Johnson's back. So be careful with Taysom Hill, folks. Always be careful with Taysom Hill in general, but, kind of scary there. And then, Chris Olave is going to play. He was doing 70 and a 35. It's not that crazy. It's not like he was doing 150 in on the highway. Yeah, that happens, man. Honestly, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Michael Thomas or Rashid Shaheed for you?
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Targets are king.
Production is there.
Yeah. On the other side, and again, Alontae Taylor in the slot has been brutal. He's been so bad. He's probably been decent for IDP because how many tackles he has to make, right? So he's been really bad in coverage. And Josh Downs, because you have Marshawn Lattimore on the outside, and you got Honey Badger back there, and you got a good, Demario Davis is obviously great. It's probably not going to be the Colts tight ends are going to have a tough time here with that. I mean, Josh Downs, for me, he's a guy that I want to get him in our FFPC lineup. In fact, why don't we pull that up and get after it right now, man? Why don't we get in there and make an FFPC lineup, folks? This is my favorite part of every Friday. This is quickly becoming my favorite format because you don't have to deal with salaries. You don't have to deal with stacking. That's the big one because, like, in the big weekly slate, sometimes there's a stack that just, if you don't have it, you lose. And it's so annoying to me. Like in this format, you can't start Tua and Tyreek. You can't start Kelsey and Mahomes. You have to pick one, right? So it saves you from the annoyance of the stacks, and you can start anyone you want. Like there's no salary, no nothing. You can start anybody you want. The only rule really is you can't start two guys on the same team. It's the same as their most famous format at FFPC, the playoff format. So make sure you're set up with that. Use promo code Coop over there. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more, and you can get going and get playing this game with us. So I'm going to pull it up right now. And first and foremost, I'm going to throw in a couple of names that I've mentioned that we already said that we really like. So I want to get Josh Downs in here.
Okay.
And I want to get Nico Collins in here.
Yeah,
those are going to be our kind of pay downs. And now we just want to start. Those are kind of our like ringers that I think these guys could legitimately have high end upside that people won't be starting. Now we can just start all the best players. So who are some guys that you think are just straight up smash spots? I mean, we can start anyone we want. We can start AJ Brown. We can start Christian McCaffrey. What are your thoughts? Oh, I can't hear you, Iggy, if you're saying stuff. And you're also upside down. Mic test. Well, I think we lost Iggy there. So guess what? I'm going to start building this lineup here, and we'll get Iggy back as soon as possible. Chat, I'm going to need you guys. Help me out. Throw some names out there that you think are just absolute smash spots that we have to get in the lineup this week. And again, it can be anybody because this goes, obviously the Thursday game already happened, but it's all Sunday, and we can use the Monday guys. In fact, I love using the Monday guys because we can essentially pivot if we need to. Like if we need extra juice or we have to like try and mix things up, then we can switch it up. So I look around at the slate this week and let's see, quarterback. Almost feel like you have to go with Lamar Jackson against Arizona. Like it might be too chalky, but he's coming off the monster week, all fired up. Yeah, there it is. Chris Alves in the chat stuck on Lamar versus Arizona. I think I got to do it. The other thing is that I think you have to use Travis Kelce against Denver. This is how bad Travis Kelce has been against, how bad Denver's been against the tight end. They're giving up the most PPR points per week to the tight end at 16. And they played a game this year where they let up 70 points. And in that game, Durham Smythe got hurt. So he only had one catch. So in the game where this team gave up 70 points, the tight end was a non-factor. In the other games, they've been so bad that they're still averaging the most points to the tight end. So you got to get Kelce in there. What else are you guys feeling good about? Yeah, Kelsey's absolutely a must. I see some questions in the chat. We're going to get to the questions right after this. Let's just build this team, and then we'll get to that. So, yeah, running back, I see Alvin Kamara. The way he's playing right now, the receptions he's getting, gotta lock him in there. Plus, I don't necessarily feel the need to start Olave coming off the issues he had there or any of those other guys. We already have a quarterback, so I think Kamara from the Saints. We have to keep in mind once we play a player from one team, we can't use another player from that same team. I mean, so what do we think about running back? Travis Etienne's been so good. We could use Saquon Barkley. We could use Tony Pollard against the Rams. We can pretty much use anyone. We can go Eckler against Chicago. Or do we want to use Keenan Allen against Chicago? What do you guys think? Eckler or Keenan Allen? That's where I'm stuck because we have to get somebody in from those teams. So I'm gonna go. I think we're gonna go with Keenan Allen. I think we're gonna go with Keenan Allen on that one. CMC, yeah. I mean, again, this format's so much fun. You can start whoever you want. Like, why wouldn't we start CMC? If we're not starting Kittle, because we got to start Kelsey. Kittle is in a good spot this week. Basically, Kittle has had 6 or fewer points in 4 games. In 3 games, the other ones, he had 3 touchdowns against Cowboys. And in the other games, Brandon Ayuk was out. He did good. Deebo Samuel was out. He did good. Deebo Samuel was out again, so it's going to be a pro Kittle week. But personally, I'm looking to trade Kittle because I just don't trust him when everybody's healthy. So, yeah, let's get Christian McCaffrey in there. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Lamar Jackson, Keenan Allen. Why don't we – A.J. Brown is on this streak of 125-yard games. If he has one more, he'll set the all-time record for most 125-yard games in a row. He knows that. We know that. I got to imagine that they want to get him in that situation. We talked to Adam Thielen and said how he's just been nonstop great. So why don't we come back? We have Nico Collins on one side, come back with Adam Thielen on the other side, right? And why not just start Cooper Kupp? I mean, he's a star. And I think that it's not going to be, or we can start Amon-Ra St. Brown. Cooper Kupp or Amon-Ra St. Brown, guys. Yeah, so a Lion is a must. Let's start Amon-Ra St. Brown. Let's get that in there. Now we just need a defense and we need a kicker. What defense do we want to do? We want to do Jets against Tyrod Taylor. We could do, let's see, definitely not going to start the Bengals. We could do Miami against the Patriots. I wish there was a way to do Atlanta. Oh, we could do Atlanta against the Titans. Yeah. Let's get that interception from our boy Will Levis or Malik Willis, whoever they're rolling out there at that point. I'm not going to start the Browns this week. Their defense has been so good. I'm going to use them in DFS, I think, but they're only 3,000 on DFS. I think I want to start the kicker against them. Dustin Hopkins, I've been hearing some smoke about. Also, Brandon Aubrey, though. Do we not have a Cowboy? Oh, yeah, we don't have a Cowboy. We use Brandon Aubrey. Linda, our resident kicker guru, has Aubrey ranked at 4 this week. So, feeling good about it. All right, let's do it. Interception or 5, Britt says. Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. So, yeah, there you go. That's the squad. I mean, and you could even go crazier. Like, if you watched me build this and you were like, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't have any Eagles in his lineup, even though actually I do have A.J. Brown. But if you were looking around and you're like, this guy's a doofus, go out and beat me. You could join the same contest. I'm in the 30-team Week 8, number 65020. Last week, Jack Sensen, one of our own boys, got in there, and he did better than me. So you know what? You have the advantage of knowing what my team is, but maybe I'll tinker with it behind the scenes. We'll see. But yeah, that's the squad. Go over to myffpc.com, use promo code Coop, deposit 35 or more. They'll give you $25. 45 is the sweet spot because this lineup that I did here, $35. It's $35 buy-in. It gets you for this week and next week. So get set up there. It's a lot of fun. Quickly becoming my favorite format. No dealing with, salary constraints, all this stuff. How many times do you go in and you're just like, if I had only had an extra $100, I could have started this guy, and then that guy goes off and it's a mess. I mean, it's just, I don't like dealing with that, and I don't have to anymore because I play over here. So there you go. I do them all anyway, but yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. So get set up with that. Piggyback. So for the time being, I'll just hit on a couple games. I'll give you a couple thoughts on my games, on my thoughts here. We're gonna have to circle back for IDP info from our boy Iggy. Yes, I think you're an idiot, but not because of your lineup. Well, Dustin, Well, Dusty boy, I know you've been going back and forth on this Dalton Kincaid fella. What did you think about the game last night, huh? Huh? Couple, three, couple targets inside the five, scored a touchdown. Who's stupid now? Stupid like a fox. What's up, baby? So yeah, rookie tight ends are live. Maybe they're back. Anyway, Rams at Cowboys -6.5, 45-point over under. Honestly, I kind of like the Rams to cover here. Matthew Stafford's been playing awesome. He's got 2 Cooper Cups now, or you could say he's got 2 Puka Nakuas. Now that Puka Nakua is better than Cooper Cup. So, hey, what are you going to do? Maybe that's the way it's going to be. Nah, Cooper Cup still. I'm always going to rank Cooper Cup over Puka Nakua. He plays more snaps. He's obviously, in my opinion, still the better player. So it's always going to be that way. But you start both. That's where you got to live. Darrell Henderson is a guy that I'm looking to start. I mean, this is another team that's willing to go with the hot hand. He knows the system, so you get him in there. Tutu Atwell, for me, you can drop. Tyler Higbee, you can drop. When you have these 2 guys, Cup and Nakua, it's just really hard to get 3 guys on the same team that are capable of 10 targets. And I just don't see a world where Cup and Nakua go on the back burner so that Higbee can get 8 targets or whatever it is, So that's where I'm living on that. So just hit on some chat real quick. Am I trading Devonta Smith for Ayuk? My question is, why are you doing that trade? It's too lateral of a trade, in my opinion. If you're worried about matchups or bye weeks or something like that, and you have a reason to do it, then do it. But whoever offered you that trade is basically saying, I know more than you about wide receivers. So I'm sticking with the guy that I drafted for the time being on that one. I guess if I had to pick one, I would pick Ayuk right now with Deebo Samuel out, but I don't feel the need to do trades like that, like 1-for-1 wide receiver trades. What's the deal? Tell me why you're doing it, and maybe the narrative will make some sense. Carr or Geno? I actually really like Derek Carr this week going against the Colts. I think it's a good matchup for him. I like the wide receivers, so there we go. And I think we got Iggy back. So let me pull him in here and see how he's looking. Well, you're sideways, but can you give me a test? Can I hear you?
I mean, can you hear me? I can hear y'all, but I can't see you.
I can now hear you, but you're still sideways. I don't know. I think it's kind of a vibe. Maybe we'll stick with it, dude. Yeah, there you go. Now that's close enough. That's close enough right there. So yeah, I just went through, talked a little Saints Colts, and sorry, I moved on to Rams Cowboys. I got to ask you, if you had to start one, let's go with Cowboys. I'm going to throw you right into it. Would you start Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup? It's a tough question.
Yeah, Cooks. Give me Cooks.
Yeah, I think Michael Gallup's they've been forcing him targets. He's just not catching it. I mean, he's gotten like 12 contested catch opportunities, only caught like 2. So I don't know. I think eventually that's just got to stop. So yeah, give me Brandon Cooks there. Jake Ferguson is a guy, again, he falls in the Dalton Schultz realm of like so boring. People were talking about these red zone targets. We got to stop talking about red zone targets and start talking about targets inside the 10, inside the 5. End zone targets, because this guy had a bunch of quote unquote red zone targets. But if you really go and look at it, inside the 10, he's caught 2 of 6 targets for 1 touchdown. Doesn't matter to me. That's not impressive to me. And the catches that he has for, a 2-yard dump down to the 18-yard line. Why do we sit there and say, oh, red zone target? Who gives a fuck about the red zone? Honestly. So forget about that. And Tony Pollard, you're starting him anywhere. Jets at Giants +3, 36.5-point over under. Bet there, Iggy? Are you betting Jets? You betting Giants in the Subway series?
Staying away from this game.
Me too. Daniel Jones apparently is going to be out and could potentially go on long-term IR from what I'm seeing. So Tyrod Taylor has thrown, we talk about end zone targets, 3 passes to Darren Waller in the end zone the last couple weeks. So I'm excited for Darren Waller. I just want to warn people, though, this Jets defense, the numbers, and this is why, guys, like Iggy, I bet you bang your head against the wall with stuff like this when people say, oh, the Jets are 31st versus the tight end, but they're not actually thinking about the personnel. They're also not thinking about who is scoring those points. The best scoring tight end this year versus the Jets has been Pharaoh Brown. He had like a 76-yard touchdown or whatever, right? Travis Kelce has been awesome this year. His worst game so far was against the Jets, right? You look at who's scoring the touchdowns. Pharaoh Brown, Luke Schoonmaker scored a touchdown. Noah Gray scored a touchdown. Those aren't the primary personnel that cover the tight end, right, Iggy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a little misleading. Stats can't be misleading, and that's a perfect example of it, too.
For sure. Like, so you're the Jets. You have like who typically would cover the Travis Kelsey or Hunter Henry on the Jets?
The Whitehead, I would assume, yeah, that's who I would, the
Right.
safety there for them on most of that strong side action.
Exactly. So you got the Patriots, right? Hunter Henry was on the field, Whitehead covering him. Farrell Brown sneaks out for a 76-yard touchdown, right? Does that indicate that the following week Dallas Goedert is going to score a huge touchdown? No, because Dallas Goedert's going to be covered by a different player. Darren Waller is going to be covered by different players. Darren Waller at times, because of how much he lines up out wide, is going to be covered by Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. So I still love Darren Waller, but this isn't like the smash spot of the century. That's just people being lazy, to be honest. So just be careful with that stuff, man. It does drive me nuts. Brees Hall, top. Where are you ranking him for the rest of the season? If you had to rank him right now, top 10, top 5, top 15.
He's running back 10 through 15 for me. So
Yeah,
high, low end 2.
right. That's what he is. He's like a high end RB2 that has
Yeah, said that.
top 5 upside in any given week. In any given week, he could potentially have a big play or whatever, but it's hard to say he'll be consistent because he's on the Jets.
And Dalvin Cook had a meeting. He's not happy.
Dalvin Cook, I think they've kind of leaked that they want to move him. So yeah, I don't know. I think Dalvin Cook is probably going to get moved. There's a few players that I think that other teams could use and probably should get moved. Like, how about a little swap, Hunter Renfrow for Dalvin Cook?
That would make a little more sense, huh?
Make a little sense because Zamir White is kind of whatever, like, and Hunter Renfrow is better than Randall Cobb, right? So I think a little move like that. Teams never do that, but it makes a lot of sense. I'm liking. We got to fly through these, so I'm just gonna say I like the usage for Jalen Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson. Obviously, the format matters. If it's standard or half PPR, maybe you like Hyatt because he runs higher ADOT. Wan'Dale Robinson, more of a lower ADOT guy, more of a full PPR guy. So there you go. Eagles at Commanders, 6.5, 43.5 over under. You got to bet Iggy on that one, or are we staying away from that?
Man, yeah. Jermaine Davis might be somebody to look at with the tackle prop. They've been hesitant to put him out with the injuries at the linebacker, but it's a divisional game. The Commanders play the Eagles tough. I'm kind of staying away from it.
Yeah, I'm staying away from the lines for sure. I'll definitely bet props though. We talked about the BR trade already. With the Eagles, it's kind of we don't really need to talk much about it because it's Smith, it's Brown, it's Goddard, it's Swift. That's it, man. Swift, Kenneth Gainwell. Honestly, like he's getting fewer pass snaps and run snaps than Smith. That's all that matters. Like than Swift. Swift is basically Isaiah Pacheco, and Kenneth Gainwell is now Jerick McKinnon. And one of those guys you can start, one of those guys you don't worry about. On the other side, John Dotson's showing some signs of life. Is he a guy you're still rostering, or are you just staying away from that?
Yeah, just not doing it. I just can't do it. I would expect way more out of him, but it's just not there.
Yeah, he's just. I think Sam Howell is just a guy that these QBs that have some mobility, right, that aren't just pure pocket passers. They seem hesitant to just throw it up for grabs, and that's where Jahan Dotson's a contested catch guy, but Howell doesn't like throwing those. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? If you had a pocket passer like Jared Goff or Kirk Cousins, right? Kirk Cousins that just stays in the pocket. When the pocket collapses, he throws it. You know what I mean? Like that's where you want John Dotson. But with Sam Howell, who's not a precision passer and he moves around, he's just not going to throw those jump balls, man. So,
I mean, and also Sam Howell's the most sacked quarterback in the league right now. So
right.
I mean, probably a potential if you want to look at his interception line, or if you want to look at like Reddick's sack line. Those are probably good angles for this week.
Good call. Yeah, he's only actually so when you talk about pass attempts, like when Pro Football Focus does it, anything that's an obvious throwaway or anything that's just an uncatchable ball, they don't count it as an attempt. So when you look at the attempts and the scrambles and the sacks, Sam Howell on one of every 5 plays does not attempt to pass. How crazy is that, dude? That one of every 5 plays, 80% of the time he actually throws the ball, but on 20% of the plays, he just is scrambling around or throwing it away or getting sacked. How wild is that, dude?
That is pretty. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, basically
Wild.
twice a drive or 3 times a drive at least.
It's great. The only other time I've seen that last year, Justin Fields was below, he was at like 70 something percent, but that's because a lot of it was he was running so much. He ran for 1,000 yards. With Sam Howell, he's not really even running. He's just running for his life, right? So pretty wild there. Patriots at Dolphins. I'm telling nobody should be betting this game right now. No one should be betting this game because these division games, 9.5 point line. I don't know, man. I don't think anybody should be touching that. Are you willing to bet this one?
What about a survival pool? I mean, because
So,
record down in Miami, is it above 500?
Survivor pool, I would pick Miami. So if I'm picking games, that would be the third. That would be the third one that I would consider. I
Ravens.
Ravens number one. Ravens number one. I try to avoid the division games if I can. So I would
Yeah,
do that one, and I would also do the Chargers over the
Chargers.
Bears. Yeah.
Those are my three big picks. I couldn't risk it on the Bills last night. So those are my three big ones still.
Okay, good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Patriots are going to lose. But we said it last week. We said the Patriots are going to lose, and then they didn't, dude. It's like they never underestimate Bill Belichick's ability to take a game and make it terrible and then kind of like eke out a win. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't care about fantasy football, that's for sure. But be careful with Tyreek Hill and with Jalen Waddle, both dealing with ailments. I think they're both going to play, but I mean, it's not like you're going to start Cedric Wilson unless one of them's out, right? You're not. Durham Smythe doesn't have a catch in the last 3 weeks, even though he plays a ton of snaps. So not really a lot of fantasy relevant assets there. On the Patriots side, though, interesting stuff, man. If Kendrick Bourne is the one that is probably safer, but what are your thoughts on this guy, Pop Douglas, Pop, Demario Douglas, dude?
I have him in quite a few bets, but it's just I don't. Is it going to be Parker? Is Juju going to come back? Could be efficient now that he's healthy? I mean, it's too much of a carousel with Mac Jones as the quarterback, for my opinion.
Right. It's like just when you think he got something nice, dude, Belichick he'll find some way to get Juju out there for a bunch of snaps. We talked about it on the Wednesday show. Juju's usage this year has been crazy. I haven't seen usage like this since Willie Snead on the Ravens when he was like the split guard. Juju comes out he plays on run plays and then he comes out of the game for pass plays. So it's just like very strange, terrible usage for fantasy. But what are you gonna do? I'm staying away from most of that. 4 o'clock games. Wow, we got like 4 minutes left, and there's still like 9 games. This is anyone that betting the under on games. We had technical difficulties too, but anyone betting the under on number of games we get through, smash, right? So rapid fire here, Iggy. I'm just gonna throw them at you. Give me just one word or very quick answers on this. Browns at Seahawks. Is Deshaun Watson droppable?
Yes.
Boom. On the other side, Jackson Smith and Jigba, is he startable?
Not with Metcalf playing.
Yeah. That's the way it is, dude. Like with if Tyler Lockett were to miss time, and I know Tyler Lockett, Britt or anybody, I know Britt is pretty plugged in on the injury stuff. Let me know what the status is with Tyler Lockett. This dude always plays hurt though. He like will play through injuries, doesn't matter, right? Like he's missed like one game in his career, but let me know what the status is with him because I know he was dealing with a little something. Next game, Ravens at Cardinals. Lamar Jackson is a smash spot. This week, is this Gus Edwards week or Justice Hill week?
I mean, I had it written down for the FFPC, and I was going to ask your opinion on that. Somebody's going to have to do really well in this game. They're both getting pretty good snap volume as well. So, I mean, if you put me in a box, give me Edwards.
Yeah, I think so too. Edwards does better in the positive game scripts, so I think this is his game. I just built the team without you. I put Lamar Jackson at quarterback. So I was thinking the same way that you got to get somebody in. We went Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. All right. Wide receivers, our ringers were Nico Collins and Josh Downs. So we came back and started just monsters. Keenan Allen, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And as you and I talked about, Adam Thielen, who can't go away from him. Tight end, we went with kind of a deep cut tight end, a kind of a sleeper. We went with Travis Kelce. And then you've heard of him? Yeah, it's kind of against the Broncos, dude. And then Brandon Aubrey as the kicker, Falcons defense on your recommendation there. So what are your thoughts? Not bad?
Falcons, I think, you've already put a Texans kicker in, so yeah, we couldn't go that route. I do love the no stacking. That is a great element. I like it. Let's go win some money.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm definitely what I've basically said to any guest on the show, if we do win, we're taking that money and because there's different levels. Like if you win the top level, you get like hundreds of dollars. So we're taking whatever money we win and we're spending it on drinks at the expo.
There we go.
So if we come in like third, then that's drinks for just you and me. If we come in first, that's drinks for you and me and all the other fantasy alarm writers, right? So yeah, so that's how we're gonna play that. Uh,
I love
yeah,
it. I
and
love
if anybody in the chat said a name that we used, then come to the expo and you're in on drinks. So, Dustin, he said Alvin Kamara. I know he goes to the expo. So-called ball nerd, ball
Sorry,
nerd. He
works
said,
at the affiliation with me.
what do you say?
Works with the sports affiliation with me.
Oh,
So
hell yeah. So he said Kelsey, he's in. So yeah, we'll definitely circle back and make sure people are. Chris Alves said I'm on Russ St. Brown, Sun God. So, make sure you're at the expo if we win this week. I'll let you guys know. Trust me. You know how I victory lap on Twitter. You'll know if we win. That's for sure. So yeah. Chiefs at Broncos. I'm sorry, what was that?
I was going to say, can we talk about the Bengals 49ers game real quick before we have to get out?
Yeah. Hit me right now. What you got?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a trap game as well. I thought it was last week. Sam Darnold is starting. That could be up or down. It's kind of up in the air. But I think the Bengals, after a bye week, getting healthier, game planning for this matchup, I think there's potential there. I do like the money line. Probably not as much money on it, but I do like it. And Trey Hendrickson is one of my players of the week as well with Jermaine Pratt. I think both of those guys on the defense can have an excellent fantasy football performance if you're in like a one and done kind of use or something like that. Or they could be available just simply because of the bye week. Go pick them up and look at them. And I do like Joe Mixon, man. I traded for him in the Kings Classic.
Yes.
Move with Nick Chubb going down. That was a killer. He came in and even after his bye week is still double, or now he's up to a third more than Najee Harris, my RB2. I think Mixon has been slowly waiting. Once Burrow starts really launching it again, they're going to be back. They're going to be in more of a secondary minded defense, whether it's nickel or dime or something like that. And this is really going to allow Joe Mixon to really get in sync. And this line is underrated. So
I love that.
For an anytime touchdown against this defense that is very solid. I think they're going to wear them out. I think they're going to get close to the goal line and Mixon punches it in.
I've been saying it all week. Bye, Joe Mixon. All right, Iggy, tell everybody what you got going on with Fantasy Alarm with everybody else real quick.
Yeah, man. I just thank you for having me on. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I am on Fantasy Alarm with the NBA Best Bets. Every NBA slotted game with more than 3 games, which is most days. I will be putting bets up there. We're up right now 4.5 units just about after 2 days of betting. So that's not bad. Go follow me there. I am a co-founder of the sports affiliation. I write about my Denver Nuggets. I write IDP articles there. We highlighted Latin people in the fantasy football industry. There's all kinds of great articles. I do run one of the largest IDP charity leagues out there, Fantasy Football Sevens. Would love anybody to sign up for that. You can come compete against Cooper or some of these other great analysts out there as well. It's a great fun time. And then I also write for King Fantasy Sports. I write my longest series, started over at Sleeper with Player Pine. It's an IDP focus. 2 starters, defensive lineman, linebackers, defensive back. 1 person I say to Pine. And it's free. Just go check it out.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Everybody stay tuned here. Coming up next, Brits Blitz with the gang. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Iggy. Catch you guys on Monday.